Have you ever wondered why humanity has always sought answers to life's biggest questions? Across centuries, cultures, and continents, the same inquiry echoes. What is the true purpose of our existence? Despite advancements in science and technology, this question remains as elusive today as it was thousands of years ago. Philosophers, spiritual teachers, and even modern scientists agree on one thing: purpose is not something external that can be handed to us. Instead, it is something we must uncover through our own experiences and reflections. Ancient teachings from traditions like Stoicism, Buddhism, and Vedanta emphasize that the key to a meaningful life lies not in what we acquire, but in how we align ourselves with universal truths. For example, the Stoics taught that living in harmony with nature and reason leads to true fulfillment. They believed that by mastering our desires and focusing on what we can control, we gain clarity and peace. Meanwhile, in Eastern philosophies, the concept of dharma, our spiritual duty or natural path, highlights the importance of living in accordance with our inner nature. Modern psychology also supports these ideas. Studies show that individuals who live with a sense of purpose often report greater happiness, resilience, and even physical health. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding us through life's complexities and helping us navigate challenges with confidence. In this series, we will explore timeless principles that illuminate the path to a meaningful life. We will examine universal truths from ancient wisdom, supported by real-world examples and modern insights, to uncover what it truly means to live in harmony with oneself and the world. The journey to understanding life's purpose begins with a single step: questioning everything we think we know. Throughout history, societies have constructed elaborate definitions of success. Wealth, power, fame. These are often portrayed as the ultimate goals of life. Yet, when examined closely, these pursuits often lead to more questions than answers. Why do so many who achieve these heights still feel unfulfilled? Why does the perfect life frequently fail to bring true happiness? The illusion of success lies in its external nature. Modern life encourages us to measure ourselves against others. Who has the better job, the bigger house, or the flashier car? But these comparisons are like chasing shadows. What appears fulfilling from the outside often conceals emptiness within. Ancient wisdom provides insight into this paradox. The Tao Te Ching, a foundational text of Taoist philosophy, teaches that striving for external achievements disrupts our natural harmony. He who knows he has enough is rich, it says, emphasizing that contentment comes not from accumulation, but from alignment with one's true self. Consider the story of King Ashoka, a powerful ruler in ancient India. After years of conquest and bloodshed, he found himself deeply dissatisfied despite his immense power. It was only when he embraced principles of compassion and service to others that he discovered a profound sense of peace and purpose. His transformation serves as a reminder that true fulfillment is rarely found in outward success. Modern research mirrors these ancient teachings. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that individuals who prioritize intrinsic goals, like personal growth and connection, are consistently happier than those chasing extrinsic rewards such as wealth or status. This suggests that the path to a meaningful life involves turning inward rather than outward. The truth is, what society glorifies as success often blinds us to what truly matters. But by questioning these norms and seeking deeper truths, we can begin to uncover a richer, more satisfying way to live. In a world driven by speed and complexity, simplicity often feels undervalued. We are told to do more, achieve more, and accumulate more. Yet, those who have stepped back from this constant chase often report a profound sense of peace. What makes simplicity so powerful, and why is it often the key to living a meaningful life? Throughout history, some of the wisest minds have advocated for a simpler approach to life. The philosopher Socrates famously said, "The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. Similarly, Buddhist teachings emphasize letting go of attachments to material possessions as a path to enlightenment. But simplicity is not just about owning fewer things, it is about creating space, in our minds, our schedules, and our lives, to focus on what truly matters. Consider the modern trend of minimalism. People around the world are decluttering their homes and lives, not because they dislike their possessions, but because they realize how much energy is drained by maintaining and managing them. Each item we own demands our time, our attention, and often our worry. One striking example of this principle comes from the life of Henry David Thoreau. Living alone in a small cabin by Walden Pond, Thoreau spent 2 years immersed in nature, deliberately simplifying his existence. His reflections, captured in the book Walden, reveal a deep connection between simplicity and clarity. Stripped of distractions, he discovered an inner peace and understanding that many of us struggle to find in our busy, overstimulated lives. Modern science backs up the benefits of simplicity. Research shows that people who practice mindfulness, focus on fewer tasks, and limit their exposure to constant stimuli experience lower stress levels and greater overall well-being. It seems that by removing the unnecessary, we make room for what truly enriches our lives. The challenge, of course, lies in making this shift. In a society that equates success with abundance, choosing simplicity can feel counterintuitive. But those who dare to embrace it often find that simplicity does not mean loss. It means freedom. Freedom to live intentionally, to focus on what brings joy, and to connect deeply with the world around us. In a society that glorifies hustle and constant activity, stillness is often misunderstood. Many equate it with laziness or inaction. Yet, stillness is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth and self-discovery. What happens when we stop moving, quiet the noise, and allow ourselves to simply be? Stillness has been a cornerstone of wisdom traditions for centuries. In meditation practices across the world, from Zen Buddhism to Hindu yoga, the act of sitting in silence is seen as a gateway to deeper understanding. It is said that only in silence can we hear the whispers of the soul. A well-known story illustrates the value of stillness. There was once a monk who lived in a remote mountain monastery. Travelers would climb great distances to seek his advice, but when they arrived, he often said very little. Instead, he would sit with them in silence. At first, this frustrated many visitors, but over time, they began to notice something profound. In the quiet presence of the monk, their own minds began to settle, and the answers they were seeking revealed themselves. This principle is not confined to ancient practices. Modern neuroscience has shown that periods of rest and reflection activate the brain's default mode network, which is crucial for creativity, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. Essentially, stillness allows the mind to process information in ways that are impossible during periods of constant activity. The benefits of stillness can also be seen in nature. Consider a calm lake, its surface smooth and reflective. Only in this state can it mirror the beauty of the sky above. When disturbed, the lake becomes murky, unable to show its true depth. Similarly, our minds require calm to access clarity and insight. However, embracing stillness can feel challenging in a world filled with distractions. Notifications, deadlines, and endless to-do lists pull us in every direction. Yet, those who make time for quiet moments often find their lives enriched in ways they never imagined. Whether through meditation, a walk in nature, or simply sitting in silence, stillness offers a pathway to reconnect with our true selves. It is in stillness that we discover not just peace, but wisdom, the kind that guides us to live with intention and authenticity. One of the greatest sources of human frustration lies in our relentless pursuit of control. We plan meticulously, set goals, and craft visions of a future that aligns perfectly with our desires. Yet, life often has other plans. The harder we cling to the illusion of control, the more fragile and chaotic our lives can feel. Why does this happen, and how can we break free from this paradox? The Stoics believed that the root of human suffering lies in trying to control the uncontrollable. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman philosophers, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words, written nearly 2,000 years ago, are as relevant today as ever. To understand this, let's consider the story of a man named Hiroshi Yamauchi. He inherited a small, struggling family business in Japan and wanted nothing more than to control its success. Despite his meticulous efforts, the company faced failure after failure. Then, one day, Yamauchi decided to take a different approach. Instead of forcing his original vision, he embraced uncertainty and allowed the company to adapt. That company was Nintendo, which became a global empire by evolving with the times. This principle applies not just to businesses, but to life itself. When we release our tight grip on outcomes, we create space for opportunities and insights that we might otherwise miss. In psychology, this is known as the locus of control. Those who focus on what they can influence, rather than obsessing over what they cannot, tend to experience greater resilience, less stress, and more satisfaction in life. Nature offers a perfect metaphor. Consider water. It flows around obstacles, adapts to its environment, and carves its path over time, all without force. Its power lies in its flexibility. In contrast, rigid structures break under pressure. But letting go of control doesn't mean living passively. It means focusing on what truly matters: our reactions, our values, and the effort we put into each moment. By shifting our energy away from controlling the uncontrollable, we can experience a profound sense of freedom and peace. When we embrace the paradox of control, we realize that true power lies not in domination, but in adaptability. The moment we stop trying to bend life to our will, we begin to align with its natural flow, and in that alignment, we find a sense of purpose that is unshakable. What if the smallest, simplest act could create waves of transformation, reaching farther than you could ever imagine? This is the profound truth about kindness. Often dismissed as trivial or weak, kindness has the power to reshape not only the lives of those it touches, but also the one who gives it. But how does such an ordinary act hold extraordinary potential? Throughout history, acts of kindness have sparked movements and changed destinies. Take the story of Oskar Schindler, a German industrialist during World War II. Initially driven by profit, he found himself moved by the suffering of his Jewish workers. His small acts of compassion, providing food, shelter, and protection, eventually saved the lives of over 1,000 people. His story reminds us that even in the darkest times, kindness can be a beacon of hope. Modern science confirms what ancient wisdom has long taught. Studies in psychology reveal that performing acts of kindness triggers the release of endorphins, our brain's natural feel-good chemicals. This phenomenon, often called the helper's high, not only boosts our mood but also strengthens our mental and physical health. Kindness, it seems, benefits both the giver and the receiver. But the impact of kindness doesn't stop there. It ripples outward in ways that are impossible to predict. A stranger pays for your coffee, inspiring you to smile at the next person you meet. That person, feeling uplifted, helps a struggling colleague. And so the ripple grows, touching lives far removed from the original act. One simple gesture can set off a chain reaction of positivity. Yet, kindness is often overlooked in a world that values competition and efficiency. We rush through our days, focused on tasks and outcomes, rarely pausing to consider the needs of those around us. But when we do stop, when we take a moment to offer a kind word, a helping hand, or even a smile, we tap into something greater than ourselves. We remind each other of our shared humanity. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of kindness is its accessibility. Unlike wealth or status, kindness requires no special resources. It is available to everyone, at every moment. All it asks of us is the willingness to see others, to care, and to act. In a world often marked by division and hardship, kindness is a quiet but unstoppable force. And the beauty of it lies in its simplicity. Small actions, repeated by many, can change the world. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the same event but interpret it in entirely different ways? One may see a challenge as a catastrophe, while the other views it as an opportunity. This difference isn't about luck or circumstance, it's about perspective. And perspective, more than anything else, shapes the way we experience life. Imagine standing in a gallery, looking at a massive painting. From up close, all you see are messy brushstrokes and chaotic colors. But step back, and suddenly, the picture comes into focus. Life is much the same. When we're too close to our struggles, they can overwhelm us. But by shifting our perspective, we can uncover meaning and beauty in even the most difficult moments. Philosophy has long recognized the transformative power of perspective. In the ancient practice of Stoicism, thinkers like Epictetus emphasized that we cannot control external events, but we can control how we perceive and respond to them. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, he wrote. This simple principle has helped countless individuals endure hardships with grace and resilience. One striking example of this is Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist. In his memoir Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl recounts how he found purpose even in the horrors of a concentration camp. He observed that those who survived were often the ones who could find meaning in their suffering. For Frankl, this perspective was not about denying reality, but about choosing to focus on the aspects of life he could still control. His thoughts, his attitude, and his capacity to love. Modern psychology supports these ideas. Research on cognitive reframing shows that shifting our perspective can reduce stress, improve decision-making, and even enhance our physical health. It's not about ignoring problems, but about seeing them from a new angle, one that empowers rather than paralyzes us. But how do we cultivate this ability? One way is through gratitude. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we train our minds to see abundance instead of scarcity. Another is mindfulness, which helps us step back from our immediate reactions and view situations with greater clarity. Perspective is a choice. It's the lens through which we view the world, and it determines whether we see obstacles or opportunities, chaos or possibility. When we learn to shift our perspective, we unlock a profound truth. While we may not control life's events, we always control how we interpret them. Why do we cling so tightly to the things we can't control? Relationships, expectations, material possessions. We hold on as if our very identity depends on them. Yet, the tighter we grip, the more pain we seem to invite into our lives. The truth is, learning to let go is one of the most liberating acts we can ever undertake. Across cultures and philosophies, the practice of letting go is seen as essential for inner peace. In Buddhism, the concept of non-attachment teaches that suffering arises from our desire to cling to impermanent things. By releasing these attachments, we free ourselves from the emotional weight they carry. As the Buddha famously said, "You only lose what you cling to." But letting go is easier said than done. It's not about giving up or becoming indifferent. Rather, it's about accepting the impermanence of life and trusting in the flow of events. Consider the story of the Japanese samurai who sought enlightenment. His master handed him a fragile teacup and said, "This cup is already broken." At first, the samurai was confused. But over time, he understood. Seeing the cup as already broken allowed him to cherish it fully while it lasted, without fearing its loss. In modern psychology, this idea is echoed in the practice of acceptance. Therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, emphasize the importance of acknowledging our thoughts and feelings without becoming consumed by them. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring our pain. It means making space for it without letting it define us. One of the most powerful ways to practice letting go is through forgiveness. Holding on to resentment or anger often feels justified, but it only traps us in cycles of negativity. By forgiving, not for the other person, but for ourselves, we reclaim our emotional freedom. Nature also offers profound lessons in letting go. Trees shed their leaves each autumn, not as an act of loss, but as preparation for renewal. Rivers flow effortlessly around obstacles, carving new paths rather than resisting the rocks in their way. These natural processes remind us that release is not an end but a transformation. When we let go, we make room for growth. We allow ourselves to move forward, unburdened by what no longer serves us. And in that space of freedom, we discover a deeper sense of clarity, purpose, and peace. Have you ever paused to consider how deeply connected we all are? Every action, no matter how small, ripples outward, influencing people and events in ways we may never see. This profound interconnectedness is both humbling and empowering, reminding us that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. Throughout history, cultures and philosophies have emphasized this universal web of connection. Indigenous teachings often speak of the circle of life, where every living being is interdependent. In Buddhism, the concept of dependent origination illustrates how all phenomena arise in relation to one another. These ideas challenge the illusion of separateness, urging us to see ourselves as threads in a vast and intricate tapestry. Consider the natural world. Trees exchange nutrients with fungi through underground networks, forming a symbiotic relationship that supports entire ecosystems. Bees pollinate flowers, enabling the growth of food that sustains countless species. Even the air we breathe is a shared resource, connecting us to every living organism on Earth. This intricate balance demonstrates that nothing exists in isolation. But this interconnectedness extends beyond nature. In human relationships, our words and actions can have far-reaching consequences. A kind gesture can brighten a stranger's day, who then carries that positivity forward to others. Conversely, a thoughtless comment can sow seeds of pain that ripple through a community. Understanding this dynamic invites us to act with greater awareness and compassion. Modern science also reinforces these ancient truths. Quantum physics reveals that particles can influence one another instantaneously, even when separated by vast distances, a phenomenon known as quantum entanglement. At a larger scale, the study of systems theory shows how interconnected components work together to create harmony or dysfunction, depending on how they interact. Recognizing this interconnectedness transforms the way we live. It shifts our perspective from me to we, fostering a sense of responsibility for the well-being of others and the planet. It encourages us to consider the long-term impact of our choices, whether it's the way we consume resources or how we treat those around us. When we embrace our place in the greater whole, life takes on a new dimension of meaning. We realize that every action, no matter how small, has significance. And in this realization lies a powerful truth. By nurturing the connections that bind us, we contribute to the harmony of the entire system. What is the purpose of life? This question has haunted humanity since the dawn of time. From philosophers to poets, scientists to spiritual leaders, every generation has sought to uncover the essence of existence. While the answers may differ, the search itself reveals something profound. The journey toward meaning is as important as the meaning we hope to find. Great thinkers across history have grappled with this question. The existentialists, like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, argued that life has no inherent meaning, and it is up to each individual to create their own purpose. In contrast, spiritual traditions like Hinduism and Christianity suggest that our purpose is deeply connected to a higher power or universal order. Despite their differences, these perspectives converge on one point: meaning is not static but dynamic, shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and choices. Real-life stories often illustrate this beautifully. Take Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, who found meaning even in the horrors of a concentration camp. He observed that those who endured such unimaginable suffering often did so by clinging to a sense of purpose, whether it was reuniting with loved ones, completing unfinished work, or simply bearing witness to the truth. Frankl's philosophy, known as logotherapy, teaches that meaning is not something we stumble upon, it is something we cultivate. Modern psychology also explores this search. Research shows that individuals who feel a sense of purpose tend to experience greater happiness, resilience, and even longevity. Purpose acts as a psychological anchor, providing stability and direction amid life's uncertainties. Whether it's raising a family, pursuing a passion, or contributing to a cause, the pursuit of meaning enriches every aspect of our existence. But finding meaning doesn't require grand gestures or profound revelations. Often, it emerges in the quiet, everyday moments, sharing a laugh with a friend, helping a neighbor, or watching a sunset. These small acts remind us of life's beauty and interconnectedness. They ground us in the present while pointing towards something greater. Ultimately, the search for meaning is not a destination but a journey, one that evolves as we do. It invites us to reflect, to grow, and to embrace both the joys and challenges of life. And perhaps that is the greatest meaning of all: to live fully, to love deeply, and to contribute to the world in ways that only we can. Not everyone dares to ask the big questions. But you've already proven you're different. You're someone who seeks meaning and wants to grow. Why not take the next step? Subscribe now and join a community of thinkers and dreamers who are redefining what it means to live a purposeful life. And remember, growth multiplies when shared. Pass this video along to someone who needs it, and leave a comment below. I let go of what no longer serves me and embrace the flow of life. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to seeing you again.